I'm not lying when I say that an MLB reporter did one of the dumbest things I've ever seen, and I like Ken Rosenthal, but he wrote a hit piece on a team he's currently covering, which of course got him essentially excommunicated from that team's dugout. Shamania, he morphed into prime Chris Sale. That new arm angle and the sinker is absolutely disgusting. And another Mets player came out and said that he'll hate the Brewers and the city of Milwaukee forever. We'll get to that in just a second. Remember everyone, MLB Postseason Recap is brought to you by SeatGeek. Use code Fuzzy to save 20 bucks off all of your tickets. And if you like daily fantasy sports, I've said this in every recap for a while, download Underdog Fantasy using my code Fuzzy and they'll give you a bunch of free stuff. So without further ado, let's get into the games from yesterday before we talk about some of the drama involving that reporter. Mark Vientos, he can simply do no wrong. Alec Boehm, he was robbed of his first base hit of the playoffs. Not the only time that he was robbed in this game. We're going to do some math right now. If you took postseason Pete Alonso and added regular season Isaac Paredes, you might have the best power hitter of all time. Why is that? Because Isaac only pulls home runs and postseason Pete apparently only hits opposite field home runs. That's his third of the postseason already. Alec Boehm cannot catch a break. Why is that? Because Tyrone Taylor just threw a seed to nab Boehm. I thought for sure Boehm was in there with an automatic double. Jesse Winker to the Hubble telescope in outer space. If that ball only went 399 feet, then I guess we can all lie. I'm 6'4". He went straight up Derek Dietrich against the Pirates on that baseball. The Mets, they turned a double play. That is 6 shutout for Shamania, and now there's more runs for the Mets. Arlen Marte's first and only base hit of the series so far is a big 2-run knock. The crowd was going bananas. Grimace, he really is the good luck charm that the city needed, or is it Hawk Tua girl? Who's the good luck charm that turned around the Mets? Sean Manaea, aka Prime Chris Sale, apparently went 7 scoreless, a masterful start. It seems like he really took to heart his postseason woes back when he was with the Oakland Athletics, and he showed up big time in this game. Jose Iglesias, I mean, just play the song. That is a bases loaded knock, 2 RBIs. Pete, he got a little bit greedy after the throwing error. He tried to score, but he's out by 15 steps. But it's 6-0 Mets. The Phillies, they did put a few on the board. Harper had an RBI. Castellanos had an RBI because Phil Maton was yet again not effective. Stanek came in and put out the fire, even though he gave up a base hit to Nick Castellanos. Boehm, he's a runner in scoring position merchant. He's amazing in these situations, but he swung at another first pitch. He saw 5 pitches total in 4 at-bats. Francisco Lindor with the final run for either team, an RBI double. I know a lot of people that had him for 2 total bases, so I'm sure he made a lot of parlays hit, and all of you guys probably felt really relieved. Stanek, he threw some gas to end it, and out of nowhere, the Grimace Mets are 1 win away from going to the championship series. Just a crazy sentence. Now, before we talk about the MLB reporter who essentially got banned from the Padres dugout, Jesse Winker had some comments about Milwaukee. So he played with Milwaukee last year. He was booed mercilessly in the wild card series and all throughout the regular season because he hit 199, and then he made the playoff roster over Garrett Mitchell. So Brewers fans just do not like this guy. Instead of trying to encourage him and rally the troops, they booed and booed and booed. And Jesse Winker responded. He said that he will hate that city forever. Now, he did give some credit to fans and that they pay their ticket. They're the veins and kind of like the core of baseball and what makes sports sports, but he did also end it by saying he's going to hate Milwaukee forever. There you go. Staying with some hatred. I don't know if the Padres hate Ken Rosenthal per se, but Ken Rosenthal literally just wrote a scathing article against Manny Machado, Fernando, Tatis Jr., and Jurickson Profar. He brought up literally every single instance of controversy involving Manny Machado dating back to his days with the Blue Jays. He called Fernando Tatis Jr. a dancing peacock, and he was not done there. He said Jurickson Profar is the kid who pulls the fire alarm and says, "Who? Me?" Essentially saying that Jurickson rage baits fans, and he shouldn't be shocked that trash is thrown back at him or insults are thrown back at him, which is wild. Are we really, like, we're not justifying being thrown at, right? And this is all after he included Fernando Tatis Jr. in a Wander Franco article. Wander Franco, when Ken was trying to discredit teams from giving younger players big-time contract extensions, even though they've played to the point where they've earned it. And then Bobby Witt Jr. got a fat contract, so his article didn't even make sense. It wasn't reported on the broadcast, but he was essentially banned from the Padres dugout because of this. He stayed on the Dodgers side all night long. There were 0 dugout interviews, and I went to game 1. Ken Rosenthal Rosenthal was bouncing back and forth between both dugouts. He didn't do that a single time in game number 3. After the game, Fernando Tatis Jr. posted a story with the peacock and dancing emojis. That's what Ken referred to him as, a dancing peacock. So obviously the team saw it, and the admin for Twitter also saw it as well. Caption with a graphic that said, "Who us?" And that was in reference to Ken Rosenthal saying Profar was a kid who pulls the fire alarm and says, "Who, me?" And the Padres admin says, "Who, us?" Because they won. So because I essentially just spoiled it, let's talk about Walker Buehler. He was robbed the night before. He had his watch snatched from him, and then he got robbed of a quality start by his own teammates. And Mookie, he was also robbed. Or was he? It was the same swing, the same spot, and Profar deked him again. Mookie's trotting back to the dugout, but Profar actually missed this one. That snaps an 0 for 22 in the playoffs for Mookie Betts. Manny, that's a single. Jackson Merrill, a fielder's choice because Freddie had the slick stop, but the throw hit Manny's shoulder. That is 10,000 IQ base running. They teach this stuff in Little League. They usually refer to it as a banana route. It's not interference unless you're looking at the ball and trying to actually like elbow it, or the defense is trying to tag you. The only lane is home to first. Remember that. Xander, he put it in play, and Miguel Rojas, he became the best player on the Padres for a moment. He tried to Superman this play, just flipped the ball to Gavin Lux. Everyone is safe. Then you have a 2-run double for the freight train, David Peralta. He's really making his former team pay. Cronenworth had a single. Higashioka, another RBI. This was a sac fly. It's 4-1 Padres. Nando's up with a runner on, and the king is back. Nando's 4th home run of the postseason already. He has the highest postseason OPS for anyone in the history of baseball in their first 20 plate appearances. That sent the Padres fan base into a frenzy. Teoscar quieted them on one swing, and you got to feel bad for Walker Buehler because that would have been a go-ahead grand slam. It's just that the Padres bullpen did all of the heavy lifting after that, tossing nearly 4 perfect frames to close it out. Jeremiah Estrada, he came on over, I think from the Cubs. I don't know if he was released or something like that, but he was a offseason addition. Then in terms of trade deadline pieces, you have Jason Adam and Tanner Scott. Robert Suarez, also I think he was a pickup from Japan or Korea, something like that. AJ Preller, he rebuilt this team after the Juan Soto trade for the owner, Peter Seidler, and they're doing it for him. That's why they have that little PS heart patch on their jerseys. So let me know in the comments, who do you think is the best team in the playoffs right now? Do you think it's the surging Mets? Do you think the Tigers are about to go and win a game 3? Do you think the Padres are the best team in baseball? The Yankees still, the Dodgers? Who do you have making the World Series after seeing all of these games? Now, one thing I do want to mention, look at this graphic right here. If you are not looking at your phone, computer, iPad, whatever you're watching on, since 2022, exactly 0 teams with a bye have won a series, which almost sounds impossible. The 6th seed has made the World Series twice. The Phillies in 2022, the Diamondbacks last year. The team who has a bye is 5-16. So a lot of MLB fans are saying that momentum is absolutely a thing, and having a bye isn't even an advantage anymore. But I just want to say this. Let's stop pretending that rest, like actually getting days off to rest your body that has been taxed for 162 games, all of a sudden rest turns your team into the White Sox, an 121 loss team. Let's stop that. Momentum is absolutely a thing, but if you are good enough to win a division, you're good enough to win a playoff series. Momentum is a thing. I do not want to discredit how important a series can be if you have the upper hand in terms of just playing better at the right time. Although the stats do say if you have a bye, you're probably not going to win. So am I overreacting? Am I being too harsh and saying that we're making excuses? Or do you think that these teams actually have a right to say, we don't want to bye? It's a disadvantage to us. We're not playing our best baseball because we had days off. And again, baseball is a momentum sport. So I can see both sides. You guys know the drill. To end every recap, we guess the batter as well as the pitcher. I know who that batter is, so I'm going to wait for that because you guys should know as well. Is that Mason Miller? This looks like, okay, so I'm pretty sure this is Mason Miller. So let's go Mason Miller. Now, one thing I have noticed is that for the last few days, they've only been picking guys who are in the playoffs. So Mason Miller was a good start, but okay, so it's a starting pitcher, not in the AL West. So this almost looks like the Montero guy. Kiter Montero, I saw his first or second start of the season. He was absolutely shredding. This looks a lot like him because I remember thinking this guy has to be a reliever, right? But I'm going to go Kiter Montero, who's also pitching, by the way. So that would make, I can't spell. That would make a lot of sense because, again, the trend has been, the trend lately has been guys who are in the playoffs. Kiter Montero, please do not shred the Guardians today. And then this is easy. I'll give you guys 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. JT Real Muto. That is as easy as it gets because the two-handed swing, the high leg kick, I mean, that's JT Realmuto. There's no other guy who looks like that. What about an Immaculate Grid? I'm going to do Immaculate Grid because it's been quite some time. We have the Blue Jays and the Cubs. I'm going to go Nate Pearson because he got traded to the Cubs at the deadline. 3%. Padres and the Cubs. Padres and the Cubs. I'm going to go Craig Kimbrell. By the way, I'm not using my face cam because it's just not working today. An MVP for the Cubs. I could go Chris Bryant. I could go, did Roy Campanella? No, he was a Dodger. I'm going to go Ernie Banks. Please be under 10%. Okay, that has ruined a Blue Jay and a Yankee. I'm going to go Edwin Encarnacion, 2%, a Padre and a Yankee. I could go Grisham. I could go Michael King. I'm going to go Higashioka because of how good he's been in this playoff series. So we have an MVP for the Yankees. You have A-Rod. You could go with, what about Lou Gehrig? I'm going to go with Lou Gehrig. I think that's a fun one. Lou Gehrig, a 40-war career, played for the Blue Jays. What about Roy Halladay? I'm almost positive he... Yep. Okay, that was a lot of them, 20%. I should have gone with someone else. The Padres, 40-war career. You go with Gwynn. What about Adrian Gonzalez? This is going to be my Adrian Gonzalez. That was a pretty good pull for me. And then an MVP with the 40-war career. Someone who's kind of random. I'm going to go Judge. I'm going to go Aaron Judge. Maybe people don't think he has that much. How much? 61. That's pretty good. Yeah, only 1% of people knew that Judge had a 40-plus career WAR. Well, everyone, that does it for today's postseason recap. I hope that you guys enjoyed. I don't really have anything else to say except thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thank you for growing the game of baseball with me, and I'll catch you guys later, hopefully, as a happy Guardians fan.